Oh, there we go. Eastham Strategic Planning Committee, and then if you want to read the,
This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov.
thank you so much. Welcome, everybody, and thank you to everybody who offered some comments. We'll get to that, but let's start with any opening statements from anybody. Anything? No? Paul?
Nope.
All right, so let's move on to the latest draft. Hopefully everybody got it. It has track changes in it to reflect comments and suggestions offered by members of the committee that I was hoping we could go through today and add anything that needs to be added. And before we get any further, Carolyn, would you be willing to do minutes again?
Sure, no problem.
Oh, thank you so much. So I guess maybe just if we go down to where some of the edits begin and make sure that we all see them. And if there's any additional comments, thoughts, and suggestions that we raise them now. So, thoughts on this page, which is the committee membership in charge.
This is kind of silly, but on the alphabetical thing, you know, does MC come before ME?
I'd
Yes.
have to look that up.
Generally, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we should switch it. Okay.
Okay. I know that's a huge contribution to this document, I'm
Thank
sure.
you for that, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Good job. I'm sure there will be more, but thank you. So we will make alphabetical. Okay.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or suggestions? If not, we can move on down on the why develop a strategic plan. And then the big changes, I think, are in the state of the town section. So some edits here from different members of the committee. Thank you. And then I and then others added lots of detail as follow-up to our last meeting. Hopefully this is what everybody was thinking of. So any thoughts, suggestions from anybody?
We just have one suggestion under C, housing. You've very nicely included some of the statistics. But I think the sort of overarching part would be a new piece or that would say, according to the housing production plan, Eastham is lacking 373 housing units for low to moderate income and work attainable housing. Lacking 373 units of low, moderate, and would we use a table or missing middle? It includes the missing middle.
Yeah, I guess maybe we could back up a second. I just kind of this section in general.
Yeah.
Where are we getting? I know some of this information is just kind of out there. We all know. But
This all came from the housing production plan.
Well,
Oh, you mean
I
bigger
guess-
than that, Paul, right?
So I guess I was thinking, does it make sense to?
You want citations?
Well, yeah, but I was just thinking if just kind of a formatting thing, like this where I'm wondering where the information came from, because like the housing production plan, we have a lot of the statistics, and like your suggestion, is good information, but can we go back into the
Consolidate.
plan and just kind of take something from the plan that generally summarizes and then list some of the key
Sure.
data, which I think we can do that pretty easily from the housing plan. Just looking through this quickly, like if there's, can we do that? Are there other corresponding plans or sources where we can just have like a paragraph summary and then some key
Yeah.
data points just to have it like, and then that's where our citations come back from.
The flood hazard stuff came from a couple of different, Cape Cod Commission, each kind of specific documents. That the relevant climate hazards came out of my head, because I'm sure I know this stuff pretty well by now.
Yeah, a lot of the statistics that I added in here many came from the Cape Cod Commission. I know, I thought about when I put it in, like, oh, well, should I put in the citation? That's easy to do, I can do that, but Paul, you're not suggesting that, you're suggesting a wholesale reorganization of this section, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have this information. It just seems like it's just kind of a list of, I want to say random, but just, it's like a list of things, whereas we just had one paragraph for each item that kind of just summarizes it, and then a targeted list of it, and then here's the most important kind of takeaway data points or something, because then so like I was saying, I know we can do that, we can synthesize that from the housing plan pretty quick. I don't know if, I haven't had a chance to kind of look through all this, like, is there a plan? Doesn't have to be this way, but just where would we do that so we're not chasing around down different sources?
Well, I think most of the flood zone stuff came from the communications documents for the, model coastal resilience stuff.
And I think it's not only, maybe if I could add, Paul, I think for the reader, if this is written for people in the community and staff and so forth, I think would be helpful is that paragraph about each topic that actually draws the reader to understand the conclusions and challenges related to that topic. You know, with housing, the biggest thing is we need housing. And that's the takeaway. And then the other documentation is there to support that. In terms of demographics, we have a very aging population. We're losing our workforce population. And we have some growing income disparities. Those are sort of the conclusions. And then there's some data points to support that.
Well, and we're also, I think, continuing to lose year-round housing to part-time.
Oh, yes, we're over 60%
Yeah.
now, part-time. 60% of our housing is
Yeah.
part-time, right? But that's a fact. So the problem is that we don't have rental housing available.
Right.
And we don't have middle income housing. So I think in each section, because that's what supports the activities, this is a section that really supports what we're saying we're going to do,
Right.
right?
This is the justification for everything
Yes.
that comes after.
So if we, for the clean environment resilient community, you used a lot of this from the that coastal resiliency document. I mean, I can go in there and use that as the source
Yeah, I
document.
think
And the,
a couple of pieces might have come from the climate committee's stakeholder meeting slides. But most of it is in the resilience stuff. Just because they laid it out so nicely for us.
right. So we can look at that commission study on coastal, the climate,
It's in actually the communication documents. They put
and the
together.
community. Right.
Communications.
Paul, are we suggesting that we replace the data here with paragraphs that are sort of descriptive?
I was thinking that just one summary paragraph that kind of encapsulate, you know, just what clean environment, resilient community, what are the major things? Just summary.
Yeah,
And
well-
then if we wanted to have a few of these data points to, then it kind of.
Yeah, and I just want to challenge that only because I'm totally a big picture person and I like summaries and, you know, Cliff Note versions of things, but I find I read through this and I just think it's really interesting and every piece of it was really important and informative for the strategic plan. And if somebody's seriously reading the actions listed in the strategic plan, I think the data that's listed here, and it might all need to be sort of double checked, but is personally, I like it the way it is. I just think you lose something in summary form.
We also
That's-
need, we're using this document in two ways, right? This is gonna be in the warrant for the town meeting.
Well, that was a question.
Well, we have to discuss that, yeah,
So
good
I-
question.
So I guess I'll say. I'm not looking to create any more work for myself to do this, so it's up, I mean, it's up to the committee if that was a
Yeah.
suggestion, but
It would
So,
just,
if people like the formatting and the way it is, that, I mean, it's up to the committee, so.
yeah, there's.
so can I can,
And it would want summary,
About
and
what
I just
happened
found this to be great.
in July.
Go ahead, Hope.
oh, no, I was just gonna say, I think maybe a
Sorry,
middle ground.
Hello, sorry,
Yeah.
Hope, sorry to interrupt, we had some, we were talking amongst ourselves, so, we missed what you said, Michelle. Sorry. Your
Oh,
last comment.
no. I even forgot what I said, so. No, I was just saying the same thing that I said before. Like, I originally looked at this and said, where's the summary? And then I put it in the context of the document that we've worked hard on for the 5-year plan. And I just think that the data on, you know, all of it, you know, cesspools and population and income and all of that is relevant. And I just wonder how you put that in a summary format without being confusing. So go ahead, Hope.
Oh, I was gonna try and thread the needle through the middle here somehow. And I too, I mean, we would need to double check and perhaps cite all the data and statistics because it's a lot and I want to make sure it's right. But that said, we could open with a summary paragraph, you know, leading into supporting statistics include the following. So we have a little of both, and that way people who don't want to go to the data don't have to, right? They have the summary, they can say, I really care about public health, not environment, whatever, move on. But for those who are interested, it's good data. I mean, I think it's supportive data to me anyway, to the recommendations and the focus areas that we have selected for the plan.
And I agree with that, Hope.
Now, I want to add to that though. If this isn't going in the warrant, this is our best opportunity to reach the largest possible audience to get data out in front of them that supports this plan, because very few people are going to read the actual plan when it comes out. But if it's in the warrant, it gets to everybody in town, and a lot of the non-resident or part-time resident people will look at it as well. So I think that's something to consider as well.
Okay, do you mind if we talk on that issue right now?
The warrant issue, sure.
That's fine, I'm just looking at the calendar, so whatever's going in the warrant, we got. We got like 2 weeks. So. If we're gonna put the executive summary in and use that. This has to be ready to go. If we don't wanna do that, then whatever. Summary of the executives. Summary of the summary, that, you know, so whatever way we're gonna go, basically, we got like. The warrant goes to the printer
Okay.
April 2nd.
We can feed this into Chat GPT and say,
Summarize it.
it does a pretty good job.
Oh, I'm a big fan, Karen. I'm with you.
but yeah.
So that's all. I don't, it's up to the committee how you want to do that. I'm just saying that whatever we're gonna send has to
So
be 2 weeks.
on the
to-
warrant, for those who have done this longer than I, which is, I think, almost everybody, except for maybe Michelle, is this too much detail for the warrant? Should there be a shortened version for the warrant?
I would say yes.
Okay,
It'd be like 2 or 3 page spread. I think the town manager's gonna she's gonna be using some of that space for informational stuff, and I think they are trying to gather data, some high point data stuff, success story type things. I don't know how much content that'll come out this year, but I've just, yeah, I would say 2 or 3 page at most.
And we've got 60.
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. That makes sense. I'm happy to chat GPT it. I have fun doing that stuff. But, okay, so that will be something that we have to do and perhaps in lieu of meeting, we'll just have to do online discussions to get agreement on a 2 to 3 page summary.
What was that financial piece? Do we want to explain the funding philosophy that goes along with this document? Because that,
What is that?
well, people are gonna ask, how is all this getting funded? So,
Right.
so what the approach is to funding these projects, because people don't want more tax increase for projects. And we've talked about some of that they're project by project. But we now have a column in there that lists funding and has some data in it, so.
That's in the full report.
Yeah.
not-
In the
not
full
this.
report, yes, not in this document.
But I guarantee people are gonna ask, how's this getting paid? So
As they should, yes.
yeah, so it seems to me that they're,
Do we have an answer though? How to that, or do we say that this plan or this document is intended to be a tool to guide future funding allocation, resource allocation decisions?
Right.
and that would be fine, I'm just.
Okay.
Some
Yeah,
of
no, I just,
that notes that
all right,
is, that was and is considered.
And it also, we talked about at the last meeting, I think. There's that statement, which I think is very important, because if we don't have the funds to do it, we can't do it. And we shouldn't do it. But also the idea that there's a whole lot of work that it's done by town staff and volunteers that's not included in here. It's the day job stuff that everybody does. And when you think about, I have no idea what the percentage is, but it's a pretty high percentage of the ongoing operational budget that goes to that stuff, not to this stuff, right? So it's assumed in the strategic plan, it's assumed that all that will continue to go on. What this provides is prioritization about new projects, new work, or when there's a conflict between, you can go at plan A or plan B, or direction A or direction B, this should help provide at least some guidance to that. So I think that issue needs to be talked about, because if I were somebody that had a particular interest in, I don't know, the health department, for example, that there's not much in here that talks about the ongoing day-to-day work of the health department. Right? It's talking about needs assessment and developing plans to meet what we find out after we do the needs assessment. So I think that just needs to be mentioned in conjunction with the funding issue. I think they go hand in hand.
okay, and just while we're looking at this page that you have up, Paul, related to that, and under excellence in town services, I do think it would be helpful to have numbers of to your point of staff, town staff, just as a piece of information because that, and then that would relate back to a statement saying that resources to continue to support existing town staff are presumed to continue, blah, 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 and then, but, you know, I think that is a piece of data that is interesting and important for people to understand in terms of back to where their tax dollars are going.
Well, are you saying we list the number of staff, 324?
Mhm.
Are you saying breaking that down in some way?
If possible, yes,
Because that's in the town warrant,
it is. Oh, okay.
isn't it, in the
I
budget?
missed that. Okay. I can look for
I
that
don't
then.
know the exact number by department, the number of staff by department. I can't remember.
In
I'm-
budget?
In the budget,
think so.
where they talk about the budget
Well-
allocation by department.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it lists everyone's salaries and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't want, not that, just number of people, so people have a sense.
So
I don't
staff-
know.
Staff by
You-
department.
Chart, do a chart. I mean, a list doesn't, just do a little chart. Department, name, number of people.
Good idea. Okay.
And I just have
Notes.
one other thing real quick. It's just it just real quick. Oh, sorry, Roy. Did somebody else have a comment?
I do have
I
a
just ha-
comment.
Go ahead.
I think we should mention somewhere in here because it came up at last year's town meeting. Additional police officers. We did add 4 officers this year. 4 positions to the police department. And I think 3 of them have been filled. And they're in the process of filling the last one. But I think that the community could relate positively to that because it's been 19 years since we added police officers.
I think I don't have the document in front of me, but I think in the full plan where with the details where we talk about the accomplishments, that's one of the things that I think is in there, Roy. I may not be remembering that right. But that's an accomplishment from the prior plan,
Mhm.
right? And a very good one.
I think that gets difficult to start putting that
Right,
kind of level of detail, because you're kind of just pinpointing one thing.
yeah.
That is important. It was important to the community, but. And I guess the stuff about. It's just a data point, how many employees are there, that's fine, but when we start like saying. Cause you can have that discussion about any department, natural resources added or subtracted. And then we're getting into a whole other type of document,
think we
it's
need
just
that.
supposed to be
Not relevant.
a high level summary of. State of the town.
The plan itself has a action item that looks at evaluates whether additional employees are needed.
To create a 5-year staffing plan,
Yeah.
right? We
So-
recommend that in the plan.
Right.
Right. So maybe that's where that belongs. I mean, it would be part of that activity.
But we're not drilling down that step by step on
Right.
it. Those.
So,
Grammatic thing, sorry, it's really irrelevant, but on section, we're number 3, state of the town. It just says Eastham had a population, everything else is in present tense. So I
Oh.
would say Eastham has a population as of, or whatever, because everything
just
else is
East Ham's
present,
population
or
is,
whatever.
right, yeah, okay,
It just had, and everything else is present tense, sorry.
yeah. But wait, Michelle, can we go back to your suggestion about making a chart and go
Yep.
back to others?
Sure.
Should we put a chart in that has number of employees, just police, fire, however it's broken down, I don't remember exactly, within the body of this document, or do people think no?
How does that relate to the projects and the information people need to have to evaluate the plan?
It relates to the part of the plan that says we're going to evaluate the staffing and come up with a 5-year staffing plan.
But
But I don't know if you need it here or there or both.
I don't think you do.
I don't think.
I think you just need the overall number.
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Personally, I mean, as an employment person, I just think it's really important because so many parts of the plan are dependent on staff, Eastham staff, to help support, execute and do it. And, you know, in the public hearing meetings that I've attended, you know, that not only are there questions about funding, but there's questions about where's the support in order to be able to even get this stuff done. So Hope, I think it's a really great suggestion. You know, and if it's too much data and data overload, you know, I don't know, how many departments are there? 20? 15? You know, I don't know how big the chart is.
Yeah,
But like Paul's a department of what, 2? And half of this plan is your responsibility. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's scary, you know, to think about.
I think
So
that's a really good point, Michelle, because I did not appreciate the size of the staff vis-a-vis the scope of
Me
their
either.
work. So I would support putting that information in for that reason, if nothing else, so the people reading it appreciate how the great amount of work that is done by really a very efficient staff level.
Exactly.
Then do you wanna
Yeah.
also add in how many committees and volunteers are engaged in these
If
activities?
if that's a, I have no idea if that's accessible information, I would put it in.
It seems somewhat relevant to that.
Yeah. Well, there's all of us doing some level of work. So, yeah.
Well, my 2 cents is I wouldn't put in the number of staff in all the departments. It's just gonna be, why does education, or not education, why did DPW have 16 in natural, you know, it's gonna get into that kind of stuff. I don't think we need it.
So total, just total number.
Yes.
I like just the total number. I think really for that reason. But I do think, Hope, to your point, or Michelle, I've already lost track who said it, but the point of, you know, this work is being, and that's, you know, if there was a summary paragraph for excellence in town services, it's that town staff are limited in number and rely also on the volunteers and committees, which relies on people being willing to participate and help do the work that needs to be done. So that's all part of that sort of summary statement. And then I would just leave the total number.
Yeah.
I do worry that people would start to nitpick, because that seems in the town, some of the town meetings I've been to, what people do is they look at the line item by department and start to, why is this department this and that?
Yeah, why am I?
We don't want to lose that.
So if I could jump out of this for a second, just because I'm trying to envision how this document's gonna, how this is all gonna get put together. So what do people think? Like, is this document basically the whole kind of front end? It's an executive summary of the whole front end, and then you go into the charts? Or do we disperse the sections? So as you go, so we have the executive summary, then you get into, there's some sort of summary about the clean environment, resilient community. That's where I guess I was thinking, was like, there's that, and then
Yeah.
And then maybe there's
something with each
the data.
section that explains.
Yeah. then there's the data that's here, and then there's the chart. So with that way of thinking, when you get down to the excellence in town services section, you're reading a brief summary, and then you're seeing how many employees and and how many committees and ever. And then you're looking at the chart of the action item. I guess I'm trying to figure out how we want to physically set up the document so that this stuff.
And then people are gonna go, there's few people doing all this.
Right.
So I guess that's a question. How
They
people
never say that.
feel.
No, they'll say, okay, where can we cut this? 'Cause
Yes.
we're paying
Right,
too much
right.
We
taxes.
got too many people in recreation.
I think I think we're really talking about, okay, we're talking about two documents. The document we're looking at, it is a summary, executive summary, if that's the right word, and it should be able to stand on its own. But then the full document would be this, plus a section for each of the 6 major sections, which could, in each section, have the same information pulled in. In other words, it might be repetitive, but that often executive summaries are repetitive.
Right, but that way you could pull out a section and have the data
Right.
and the rationale with it and work from that instead of having.
So it's cut and paste.
I like-
the chunk of this that relates to housing, for example, goes into in the front forward part of the detailed pages about housing. So they're the same thing, same information. But this can stand on its own. I can't figure out if they can see that I'm doing this, but anyway, I'm holding up the one. we
I
have.
can see it.
Okay, good. I just couldn't figure that out. I talked too much with my hands. But then the whole report is all of it. That makes sense to me from a construct perspective.
I agree.
And from an ease of use.
Ease of use, because there are gonna be times where, like, this would be a very good introductory document for all the committees. You know, and then each committee may want to look at the detailed section that relates to its particular area of interest. What do you think, Paul?
I guess this is where we get back into what's going in the warrant. So
Right.
my view is the executive summary is like the 2-page document. It doesn't have all of the data. It's a 2-page document. And that's like what we have to develop to go into the warrant, but that also is the executive summary. And then you go into the full plan, and the executive summary is the first 2 pages of the plan. So but then the rest, all this document that we're looking at now is we put it into the sections preceding each chart.
But we can't. I'm gonna push back a little on that. The state of the town stuff, some of the, I mean, we can copy and paste certainly each section to each section of the bigger chart. And we can also do a 2-page summary that goes into the warrant. Fine. But this, I think, provides yet some additional information, why we did the plan, how it's going to be used, the steps that were used, blah, 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 which may or may not make it into the 2-page executive summary. We'll have to kind of suss that out. But so I think there's the executive summary that doesn't exist yet. We have to create it. There's the chart plan that Paul has developed that we can cut and paste the data sections onto the beginning as backup information to be able to understand the recommendations that are being made. But this document, I think, is still valuable for some of the other information that documents the process, the outcomes, etc., which wouldn't be in either of the other 2 things.
It's like, this is the report of the committee,
Mm-hmm.
and then the actual strategic plan is this plus all the tables,
Mm-hmm.
all the charts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actual strategic plan. This is just a summary report that, you know, highlights the areas we've talked about and the vision.
And has the strategic activities and all of that. So
Right.
if you are someone who doesn't need to get into the chart and tables that has responsible parties and dates and blah, 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 you have this other document that gives you a sense of the 20,000-foot version of what the plan encompasses. What do people think of that?
I like that.
Paul, how many pages do you think we have to limit? Our part in the warrant to three max, three max?
I think we should plan on having a 3-page insert in the warrant. And then it's just a matter of what is the content? Is it going to be the executives? Yeah.
Well, we haven't written it yet, so
Yeah.
we don't know. That I can do that, I don't know, what day are we on, Wednesday, by Friday? That's not a problem. As long as I can use ChatGPT to help me. Just to be on the record and I'm upfront about that. But,
I just asked it to summarize this document. Yeah. Good.
yeah, it's a wonderful tool. I agree,
Reasonable,
Karen.
very short, kind of
Yep.
straight to the point. Thing.
I have just two other very minor comments.
Mhm.
On page 9. Presentations in the, about 2/3 of the way down, presentations made to various ward, towns, etc. I would add the Affordable Housing Trust in there. Housing is a big topic and
Okay.
it should be included. And then if that's okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and then on page 13. This was gonna be a question, Paul, for you. Under action steps for at the very bottom of that page. Model bylaws, design-driven housing model bylaw. Is it that or is it form-based code? Model bylaw. I just wanna be sure we got the right word there.
Yeah, I don't think that. We can fix that. It's not the right terms, but.
Right, okay. And then on page 15, under excellence in town staffing. Action steps, the 5-year staffing plan. Under action steps in the middle. It says analyze staffing needs. It says an assessment to analyze staffing needs. I don't know if that's where we want to put in the 5-year staffing plan. Under action steps, the second one. Conduct an assessment and prepare a 5-year staffing plan.
So I guess I should say, I'm still waiting for feedback from admin,
Okay,
which is where these, so
that's
the
fine.
action items on those charts are not, I haven't got back like
Okay.
what the recommendation, what should be in or out.
Okay,
The service animal policy, I don't know if that's gonna make the cut as what we feel is a priority or not, so. So once we have that, I think we can clean up
okay,
that section,
that's good.
just for example.
Can you go back to page 6? Above the graph. Okay, do we mean the second one, do we mean the median income?
Medium.
Median,
Yeah, it should be median, yeah.
And is the last part of that sentence, is that $191,000?
That's correct.
Yes.
I thought it would be higher than that. Uh,
That's to purchase the median.
The 30-year mortgage.
Yeah, median house with a 30-year mortgage.
It's income dependent. It's connected to income, not what the median house price is in Eastham.
It's the median income compared to the income required to purchase the median price house.
Right.
Which is what, 760 some odd thousand?
The last time I looked, it was that pushing up to 800. 799. But these data are all coming from the same time period, so we just want to use the same time period.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if you go to the last, I guess it's paragraph S there. Did you mean to say it is estimated?
Oh, yeah. Missing a word, got it. Yep.
Okay. And maybe I'm just being dense on this, but D, municipal infrastructure. A, the town of.
Down further,
East-
down.
Yeah,
D.
down farther. The town of Eastham nominated? Or do we mean identified? What's the right word?
Yeah, it's not identified either. I must have,
Created.
hmm?
Created.
Designated.
Designated? I don't know. Paul, what do you think?
It's, I'd say designated, but this. I guess it's because you're talking about. All right, I see why you should put it there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a designated.
Designated, okay. Okay,
It's. I would say that the town of Eastham. Yeah, that's fine. We want to have this SHI chart in here. As.
We don't have any other chart.
We don't have any other charts, and also. A big part of what we're doing. On housing is not. All tied to improving the SHI, as important as that is, it's actually. So I just think this chart automatically. Starts telling a story that doesn't tell
Right.
the whole story, so.
I would
all right.
agree.
All right, pull it out.
Sorry, I'm flipping around, just trying to double check something.
Okay. I wanted, just as a time check, Michelle, I know has to leave at 3. The quicker I can be done, the better, so I'm just a quick time check. We have 15 minutes or so before we lose Michelle for sure.
My comments are in, so thanks for that.
Well, do you have more comments, Paul?
Not right now, I didn't have a lot of time to go through the document yet, but.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to rewrite it a fair amount anyway, so, maybe you wanna wait and look at the next version.
Fine.
Um,
Thank you, Hope, for all your work.
Yeah, I hope you're doing
Mhm.
great.
Yep.
So do we want to meet before the deadline for the warrant? So we can Hope, do you want to delegate some other work like the warrant 3-pager?
well, you know
I'm
what?
happy to help.
Thank you. Maybe I will use ChatGPT. I do think it's a great tool. maybe I can do that and then the two of us can look at it and create something to share with the rest of the group. And
Yep.
that will be the warrant summary. We'll have to just call it something else as opposed to the committee report. So yes, that would be great. So going down, I'm looking at our agenda. So we reviewed the plan, so I need to do some work on it and get it back out to everybody. Number 3, the warrant, we did pretty much cover that. So Michelle and I will endeavor to create a document appropriate for the warrant and share it with everybody. And then I think we should, if possible, meet to go over to make sure that we all are feeling good about what will now be 3 documents that complement and support one another. Does that sound right to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to that date. So the next 2 items, discussion on work plan and schedule and discussion of role of committee for plan implementation and monitoring. I would like to pen that to the next meeting when we have some more time and all of us can be there and hopefully in person. Because that's going to be a really important piece of this. Do others agree with that suggestion?
I agree.
Before you move on.
Yep.
We should, that when we're meeting next, we need to get the warrant piece done by,
In 2 weeks.
yeah.
So could we meet, what is,
And honestly, ASAP, just
Mhm.
because I know the
We-
person putting the warrant together is like,
Will
Getting-
scream at us.
So-
if we're
Yeah.
doing
so
it.
Paul, would next Wednesday be soon enough?
Wednesday's hard because we have planning and all that too, but we could do that in open space.
I can't do the 19th. I'm having cataract surgeries.
How about the 18th?
Yeah, Tuesday?
I'm in Boston for doctor's appointment. So.
But hope, is it you and me or the whole team or what are we gonna do here?
Well,
We'll
the
do
whole
something
team,
before
I
that.
think, has to look at the document
Right.
before we agree, so.
20th?
well, let me. If Hope and Michelle are gonna put together this 2 or 3 page document. Perhaps that can be circulated to the committee and then any comments sent back directly to just Hope, so we don't get into a open meeting law thing.
Right, yeah.
And then we're not trying to get that under the wire, then we get a little more time to figure out a date where we can have the bigger discussions that. we
Right,
take.
but do we need to vote on the warrant? Or
I don't
just-
think that needs a vote. I think if everyone will get it, any comments. And then we'll, leave it to Hope and Michelle that they can,
Then we don't need to meet.
no, I mean, my
Next week.
recommendation is I don't think the committee needs to meet to like. Finalize that document.
Right.
Everyone will have a chance to put their comments in and.
I would agree with that.
Okay. All right, good. It's you and me, Michelle. Thank you. Okay, so, meeting minutes. I know we got 2 sets of meeting
so-
minutes. Oh, yep, sorry, Carolyn.
Do we want to try to schedule the next meeting, which doesn't have to be within the next 2 weeks? But we will need another meeting to do the rest of the work.
Absolutely.
We want to go back to our usual schedule.
What was that, Karen? I'm sorry.
Was the second Tuesday,
Second Tuesday. So,
I mean the 9th.
then of April, are we looking at April 8th,
8th.
Oh, sorry, Wednesday. I meant Wednesday, sorry.
April 9th? Which
Yep,
fine with
I
me.
could do that. I can do that.
Good with everybody?
What time?
Roy, do you have a specific time you need?
No,
No, 2 o'clock on the 9th?
Yep.
that's fine.
And would that be from 2 to 4? We have a lot to talk about.
That's gonna be a big discussion, yeah. Can we do, you think yes? Okay, 2 to 4. All right. Putting it in my calendar. Oops. All right. All right, so we have our next meeting date, excellent. Let's go quickly while we've got everybody back to the meeting minutes. Just want to, so thank you, Carolyn, they were excellent. I thought they were excellent. Does anybody have any edits to either of them? We'll start.
I did misspell Michelle's name. I'll fix that.
Okay, happens a lot.
Thank you.
So I can move approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And let's be clear, there were 2 sets of minutes,
Yep.
right? December 17th and February 28th.
Karen, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're hearing from everybody. Okay, so both sets of meeting minutes are approved.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Hugely helpful. We're probably still backlogged on the other meeting minutes, but we'll get there. Any other business from anybody? Anything else going on that we should be thinking about as part of our work as the Strategic Planning Committee?
I just hope that for that meeting, the one we're doing on April 9th or 8th, or whatever day we just said 9th, I think we should all come prepared with some thoughts and ideas on, you know, how we perceive the role of our committee going forward, you know, so that we've kind of given it a little bit of thought.
I like that,
Maybe-
thank you. Yeah,
Maybe, oh, you and maybe in collaboration either with Michelle or Paul or do a straw person plan. Is that the right word? You know,
like a proposal for you
like a proposal.
to react to.
Starting from the white page.
Yeah, I agree. It's always easier to edit than to create, right?
Or at least broad strokes. I
Yeah,
don't-
yeah.
It's just broad strokes. Even if it's 5 or 6 bullets on a piece of paper.
I can do that. I'll
was
work
gonna
with
say.
Paul on that.
Sounds good to me. Thank you. Paul, thank you. You just got thrown in.
That's fine.
Got volunteered for another thing, Paul.
I'll do it with
Fine, I'm
Paul.
good with
Paul.
We'll coordinate.
Speak now or forever hold your peace. All
Yeah.
right. Very good. All right, so I just want to very quickly summarize. Michelle and I are going to go try and put together an executive summary that we will share with everybody for comments back to me only. That will be appropriate for inclusion in the town warrant, and we will do that as quickly as possible. Do we have a date we should put, Michelle, for ourselves to get it out to everybody?
Maybe by Tuesday? Monday, does that work? For everybody, and we'll try to under commit and over deliver and get it out sooner. But that's like early next week, so then people can respond, have 48 hours maybe to respond, and then we can have the final doc by the end of the week.
Paul, does that work?
Yes?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right, got it. All right. I'm going to go back and make edits to the document. I think, Paul, maybe you were making edits as you were going along. If you were, could you share it with me? If you didn't, that's fine too.
No, I
But-
didn't. I
didn't.
wasn't.
Okay, I will go back and make edits to the document, accept the changes, do the summary paragraphs in front of the statistics, and then also, at some point, maybe not immediately, we're gonna have to cut and paste that final version into the beginning of the document with the charts. That's right, right? Okay. I think that was it for the moment. Is that right? And then we're gonna Michelle and Paul will create something for everybody to react to in advance of our next strategic planning committee meeting. Is that right?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. Then I guess, anything else before we adjourn?
Good meeting.
Thank you.
No? All right. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I